Gopidana Vallabha Girivara Hari Girivara Hari Gopidana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajadana Rangana Yashodanandana Brajadana Rangana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajadana Rangana Yashodanandana Brajadana Rangana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaura Pimanande Dayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Rajgacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Shirabai Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skan Bibiti Founder Charya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jaini Thai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Rakshurindritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaistabamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanditam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayashabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and the loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, that becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nisreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva, It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Siva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vatanam pangom lagayate girim. Yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class, continuing from the first canto, chapter 8, which is entitled Prayers by Queen Kunti. Yesterday we read text number 7, so today is number 8, text number 8. Gantum Kritamatir Brahman Dvarakam Ratham Astitaha Upalebhe Vidhavantim Uttaram Bhaya Vivalam Gantum Kritamatir Brahman Dvarakam Ratham Astitaha Upalebhe Vidhavantim Upalebhe Vidhavantim Nattam Tim Uttaram Bhaya Vivalam Gantum Kritamatir Brahman Dvarakam Ratham Astitaha Upalebhe Vidhavantim Uttaram Bhaya Vivalam Gantum Kritamatir Brahman Dvarakam Ratham Astitaha Upalebhe Vidhavantim Uttaram Bhaya Vivalam Gantum Kritamatir Brahman Dvarakam Astitaha Upalebhe Vidhavantim Uttaram bhaya vivalam
Gantum kritamatir brahma
Gantum kritamatir brahman
Dvarakam ratamastitaha
Dvarakam ratamastitaha
Upalebe vidavantim
Upalebhe vidhavantim
Uttarang bhaya Vihvalam
Uttaran bhaya vivalam Gantum,
Gantum
just desiring to start.
Just desiring to start
Kritamatihi,
Kitamatihi
having decided.
Having decided
Brahman,
Brahman
O Brahmana,
O Brahmana
Dwarakam,
Darakam
towards Dwaraka,
towards Dwaraka
Ratham,
Ratham
on the chariot,
on the chariot
Astitaha,
Astitaha
seated,
seated
Upalabhe,
Upalebe
saw,
saw
Abhidhavantim,
Abhidhavantim
coming hurriedly,
coming hurriedly
Uttaram,
Uttaram
Uttara,
Uttara
Bhaya Vivalam,
Bhaya Vivalam
being afraid.
being afraid.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai.
As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. Kindly repeat after me. As soon as he seated himself
As soon as he seated himself
on the chariot
on the chariot
to start for Dwarka,
to start for Dwarka,
he saw Uttara
he saw Uttara
hurrying toward him in fear.
hurrying toward him in fear.
Purport. All the members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord. And therefore, the Lord protected all of them in all circumstances. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon Him is especially looked after by the Lord. The father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. Translation again. As soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. So this is actually this chapter is not only entitled Prayers by Queen Kunti, but also Parikshit saved. So this is the we could say introduction of this section of the chapter. Uttara, who is the expecting mother of Parikshit. We can just recall the whole story briefly. Actually, Duryodhana, as we know, who was favored by Dhritarashtra, did not want any of the Pandavas to take possession of the kingdom. And of course, that whole situation culminated in the Battle of Kurukshetra. And there were all kinds of members, relatives who fought in the battle. One of them, of course, was Abhimanyu, who was very young, maybe about 16, 17 years of age, but very, very powerful as a soldier, as a kshatriya, and we know that he challenged very valiantly the soldiers. Um, what was the name of that? He knew in the Vedic military science of fighting is very elaborate. Actually, they have we see that those nice descriptions are there in the Mahabharata. That depending on what formation one party, one side for fighting, they have different what they call. I don't know the Sanskrit term, but formation, which are related actually to different animals who will be attacking their enemy. So the opposite party would respond by something else, just like if somebody shoots an arrow of fire, you respond by shooting an arrow of water. So the fire and the water will like that. So there was one particular very sophisticated formation. What's it called? Chatur something?
Bihu.
Huh?
Bihu.
Bihu. Yeah.
Chakra Bihu.
Yeah. Chatur Bihu.
Formation means Sanskrit Bihu.
Oh.
Chakra
Bihu.
Bihu. On formation is Chakra Bihu.
Okay. Chakra.
Chakra Bihu. Abhimanyu entered Chakra Bihu.
Yeah.
But he not.
Abhimanyu, he knew how to enter, but did not know how to come out. And why he knew only how to enter and not how to come out?
He not listen.
Did not listen. No. What happened specifically?
He his mother I think.
He wasn't his mother, huh?
So Subhadra's own. I think.
Yes.
Sri Krishna.
He was Arjuna was Arjuna, who knew all of the sciences, was explaining about this Chatubhyuha, and she was listening, and then she fell asleep.
Yes.
So while she was listening, she heard how to enter, but then when she fell asleep, so in this way, Abhimanyu, who was born, had heard only part of that. Yeah. So that's why he had told the various members, like the Pandavas and others, that I know the science. Arjuna was not there at the time because battle of Kurukshetra was fought over many kilometers. So sometimes somebody was at this end, sometimes at that end. And when that whole incident took place, Arjuna was in some other place fighting some other war. I mean, it's the same war, but with other. So anyways, Abhimanyu That's all narrated very nicely in Mahabharata. He entered, and the other members tried to enter, but actually they were blocked. And the whole incident, and he was killed, as we know. So he was he was killed, but actually he was newly, he had been married maybe a year or so before, and so so he, that means that actually he never saw his son, and Parikshit is in the womb of his mother, Uttara, and this is what is being described here. She is running towards Krishna, who's about to leave for Dwarka. So Prabhupada doesn't go in the storyline, but he immediately discusses this aspect of protection, that the Lord, that the devotees of the Lord, they know only Krishna as their sole protector. We see this especially, of course, displayed in the pastimes of Vrindavan. All the residents of Vrindavan, whenever some danger is there, they go to Krishna, and they know that Krishna will protect them from all types of dangers. So Prabhupada is just pointing out here how this is the mood and the mentality of the Lord's devotees. And of course, Prabhupada points out how the more one is dependent on the Lord, the more one, and he gives the example, just like a small child is totally dependent on the parents, and therefore parents will generally give more attention, more protection to such dependent children. So ultimately, we're all children of God, and this this mentality, or this mood of dependency. This is what is being conveyed here by Srila Prabhupada. The more we develop this sense of total dependency on the Lord, then the Lord will be more inclined to protect his devotees. And of course, this is displayed in many examples, in particular Prahlad Maharaj, who was so fully dependent on the Lord that he was totally, of course, fearless, and the Lord protected him in a very unusual manner, as we know. So we may have some theoretical understanding that yes, of course, we're all dependent on the Lord, but actually one needs to demonstrate that. One needs to convey that, so to speak, so that the Lord can reciprocate. And this is what will be taking place here in the next verses to come. Ashwatthama had, so what happened actually? Ashwatthama had thrown this Brahmastra, but then Arjuna had neutralized the Brahmastra. So that was part of the Brahmastra, that some weapon was being directed at killing the only surviving member. That was Ashwatthama's thinking, that he killed the sons of Draupadi, And then the only possible member of the dynasty would be or was um, the child in the womb of Uttara. So he wanted to completely destroy the dynasty, but as we will see, Krishna will be giving protection to Uttara, who's approaching him. Yeah. So yes.
Maharaj, you told that theoretically we can understand that fully dependence.
Yeah, there is theoretical understanding, but then there is practical understanding, or just like the whole. There is Gyan, but there is Igyan.
Yeah, but we are practicing Krishna consciousness in an adult body. It means we have learned some protective methods.
In
So
an adult
then we
body.
should not learn it like a kshatriyas, or should not apply it when there is a danger. So how to include this fully dependence of Krishna and still not acting like a fool? Or we should act like a fool, you mean, like a child? So we have some learnings from the Vedas also. So how you can put together, how you can practice this fully dependence and also practicing like a learned sadhu or
Okay.
Vaishnava.
The question is, if I understand, how we can develop this mentality or mood of full dependency on one side, and at the same time in the adult body, because we were giving the example, we're not like small babies who are totally dependent, but actually it's a question of yeah, that's part of the Maya or illusion that is there, even though we have this type of body, even though we may be playing the role of, for example, of the Kshatriya, who is very powerful and who must display such powers in society and must take on different responsibilities. The example of King Prataparudra comes to mind. Still, externally, we may be so many things, but internally, we need to develop that mood and mentality. For example, our basic siddhanta or philosophy is that we are all prakriti. Prakriti means actually dependent. There is a material prakriti that is called apara prakriti, and then there is the jiva, living entity, who is also prakriti, both being actually dependent. And there is only one purusha. Purusha means master, and of course purusha means also male. So in relation to Krishna being prakriti, this is a very interesting aspect of our philosophy. Also, we're all female. So even though we have different bodies, even though we have different positions and roles within society, there is the external aspect of how people look upon us and how we see ourselves in the mirror, or how we see ourselves playing some particular role or position in society. But then there is that internal internal consciousness, internal development, internal understanding of our actual position, of our actual identity in relation to Krishna. And this is something, of course, that each one of us, each individual person needs to cultivate this understanding. So there's a general understanding that yes, we're all dependent. Then there, in addition to a general understanding, there is specific, very unique understanding in terms of our, and of course that enters into the whole aspect of, of, of rasa, for example. We have particular relationship with Krishna, which is unknown in our conditioned state. And depending on that relationship, just like we see in the material world also, the feelings and sentiments of a young child or of children in regards to their parents will be different than the relationship that is there between friend and friend. That whole, yeah. So Krishna consciousness refers, or we could say means, developing or cultivating this type of very, we could say, personal and also very subtle understanding or consciousness in terms of our our actual position. Just like we happen to be reading this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that whole episode or lila of King Prataparudra, who, although playing the role of king, very exalted, elevated position in society, wanted to meet Lord Chaitanya, and of course he was advised. He was advised, well, by both Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Roy, that the best way that you can actually meet with Lord Chaitanya is during the Rath Yatra time. There will be, at a particular point, Lord Chaitanya will actually take some rest in some particular like garden, and then you remove your kingly dress, you take on ordinary dress, and then you recite different verses from the Bhagavatam, verses which will immediately be very pleasing to Krishna because it will remind him of Vrindavan, and he will immediately respond to you, and you can do some seva for him, which is what. So in other words, we have to remove, this nice example actually, just like King Prataparudra removed his kingly dress. So we have to remove our material covering or identity in terms of this present body that we have, because the spirit soul within ourselves is has nothing to do with this present body, and we are has nothing to do with the present role or position we are taking in society, and we need to ultimately develop this type of understanding, this type of consciousness, and it's very much connected with our basic philosophy of sambandha, which when we apply the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, then properly, nicely, then in due course of time, gradually, this type of mentality or this type of consciousness gradually awakens or develops. Yeah.
And which kind of situations we are practicing this kind of one, or always every situation, or different situations helps more?
You mean when do we practice this
Yeah.
type of consciousness or understanding?
What kind of sadhana helps to develop this?
Right. There are in our practice, in our daily practice of Krishna consciousness, there are certain times, whether it's on a daily basis or let's say on a yearly basis. For example, on a yearly basis, we have, well, for that matter, on a monthly basis. Like on a monthly basis, there are days of Ekadasi. On the yearly basis, there is month of Kartik. On a daily basis, we have certain periods of the day where we are meant to be more, more,
Submissive.
well, we're meant to be submissive all the time. But for example, when we chant, when we attend, when we are having darshan of the Lord, these are more like opportune times to kind of awaken this type of mood or mentality. So we have, of course, our whole life we're meant to carry whatever we cultivate in those more intense periods. Just like some devotees, since many years, like Rath Yatra is coming up in 2 days, on the 7th. So some devotees who have a very special, deep attraction and affection for Lord Jagannath, they make a point of being in Jagannath Puri every year, or in Calcutta, where Rath Yatra has been followed for so many years, or of being in Vrindavan during especially the month of Kartik, as we know, which is the most important of all the 12 months of the year, because in that 1 month period, Krishna performs so many wonderful pastimes, and it's a special month to especially make spiritual advancement. So there are specific times on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, where we are invited to actually take advantage of certain activities, like every day attending, beginning our day. That's why it is called Mangala, Mangala Arati, to begin our day with all auspiciousness. Mangala means auspiciousness. by by performing these different activities, we will, and during those particular activities, we have opportunity to intensify more so our our mood and our mentality of dependence on the Lord. Like when we have darshan of the Lord, every day there's darshan in all of our temples. So mentally, we're meant to offer prayers to the Lord. There are the general prayers, but we are also meant to internally, personally, individually express our feelings to the Lord, in addition to what is already nicely written and composed by our acharyas in the prayers that we chant, etc. Yeah. And just like here, we will see in the next few verses, similar to Arjuna in the previous chapter, who had offered various prayers and glorification. Also, Uttara will be approaching the Lord by beginning to offer different prayers as well. So when we approach someone, in other words, there's a way of approaching and opening dialogue with individual. Yeah. 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 This is our problem, even as devotees. Sometimes we because we get caught up in so many kind of activities, but it should be close to our heart, because at any moment, and Krishna creates such situations to help us remember that we're totally dependent. but we have a tendency of forgetting. It's like, any of us at any moment, we can become seriously ill. Not only that, any one of us at any moment, we can die. Yeah, life is so fragile, but we that is the wonderful nature of this material world and of Maya, as wonderfully narrated by Yudhishthira Maharaj, was asked that question. What is the most wonderful thing, like that? We have some visitors this morning. It's always good to come at the beginning of the Bhagavatam class. Of course, anytime is also. So we will read the verse for the benefit of those who are just popping in. From Prayers of Queen Kunti, one of the very, very important chapters in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 8, which read as follows. Let me see here. Yeah, we read text number 8. As soon as he seated himself, Lord Krishna, on the chariot to start for Dwarka, this is after the whole battle of Kurukshetra, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. And Prabhupada gave a short purport, but very important purport, underlying the need and importance for all of us, for those who are actually devotees, to develop this mood and mentality of dependency. Our problem in the material world is that we think we are independent. But the opposite is true, that we are fully, completely, and the more we understand this dependency, and we were just briefly discussing how one, can develop this type of mood and mentality, and Krishna has given us. It is part of our Vedic culture. It is part of our Vaishnava culture, especially when we come to the temple, when we hear Bhagavatam class, when we perform certain activities. Every day we have that opportunity. Every month we have Ekadasi days, which are meant to be more intense in our practice of devotional service. And we have different festivals during the year, especially we have the month of Kartik as well. So we have certain moments every day, every month, every year, that are especially meant to help us develop this type of understanding. And of course, we should try to cultivate this Mura mentality all the time, because dangers are constantly there for all of us in the material world. And Prabhupada was explaining how a devotee is someone who is, by this ongoing cultivation of consciousness, whenever some very great danger is there, immediately, automatically, he will take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. He will take shelter, actually, the holy name, isn't it? Okay, we will close for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Gauda Pimanam. Welcome.
Thank you.